think it's Muriel Torchman, also known as the White Rose 2. And if I mispronounce this, Miss Torchman, please is it Torchman?
Yes.
It is. Muriel Torchman, and also known as the White Rose 2. Now, I'm reading this thing, Muriel, and I'm trying to figure this out. It is complicated, and we only have a little time to do this, but I want to make it as simplistic as possible. But you're in Delray Beach, Florida, and I read some of this. The whistleblower who calls herself the White Rose 2 due to slander fears for her safety. She's proof that the CIA has been brainwashing America for 50 years. So, of course, this is through lots of administrations. She's attempting to sue the DOD, other government agencies, claiming that weapons of mass destruction have launched with the NSA transmissions to engineer our culture and our lives. Americans' mind control with bad luck is known today as the new remote viewing transmission technology. Now, to make this as simplistic as possible, how are they doing this to us?
These transmissions are as a subliminal, but they can be strong or they can be subtle. Where if you ever notice the speech given by a president and they claim they don't know why they said that or they misspoke, I've witnessed people, and I started to carry a tape recorder, who say they never claimed to say what they had just said. Within 3 seconds of the conversation, 3 seconds later, they had no recollection of a full statement or sentence they had just said that I recorded, because it bypasses the cortex.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that the president doesn't know he's doing it, and he has no control over what he's saying, and he is actually being duped by this sinister group?
At times, absolutely 1,000%. At times, they pick and choose selective memory. They pick and choose when to manipulate the conversation, the communication. It's called communication chaos. They pick and choose when to attack, if you will, or assault the subject, the person, when to eat, when to have a craving, an urge. And I learned anchors and triggers which create the fake or synthetic paranoia or schizophrenic that Russell Tice describes in his article.
First of all, how are they doing this, and why would they do this to ordinary citizens? Are they doing it from laser satellites, or how are they doing this? How's this being done?
Yes, the transmissions are ELF. Again, best described in the Russell Tice article on my website. They started doing this this is all hindsight. I never knew a thing about this. I'm 48 years old, and I've never been psychic. I never knew anything about any of this. I've been an accountant for 25 years. In my research and recollection, and because of my experience and where I've been, where they took me for many years, unknowingly, unwitting, I was just like you, unwitting for 35 years I've lived, or 38 years in the States. They would actually start with the requirement of experimenting. They can't get testing or feedback from animals. So in the 70s, they started to experiment. They started with crimes in major cities. False imprisonment, false memory syndrome foundation was created.
Wait a minute. Are they doing this on a one-on-one basis? Because I understand when you talk about the NSA, the National Security Agency, we're talking about maybe bringing suspected terrorists in, brainwashing them, and doing this. But are you talking about the general public who's walking down the street and they don't know that they're actually being hit with these waves?
Okay, it started with experimenting subliminals, drink Coca-Cola, movies and popcorn. Right. When they figured out the experiment on the people was creating such power and tax dollars with Project Mockingbird and the media, and how these weapons were so powerful, they actually are physically powerful, and they can damage your body, kill you, or cure you and heal you, which the FDA...
You gotta help me walk through this. What you're basically saying is when they found out that the marketing part, like the Coca-Cola and just a little bleep of a picture of popcorn in the movie, actually did transcend results.
What I'm saying is it evolved when they figured out how much power they have over controlling people and the human person in the experiment for military robots. They started use it around the 80s as a matrix.
Earl, how are they using this? Is it from the office window somewhere through a satellite dish? Is it lasered in or what?
It's in my pleading in the website. It describes the remote viewing, which is the software I purchased on a computer. It's a software. It has a scale box. It's scalar waves, and it's just radio waves, sound waves that they transmit wirelessly. It's just ELS scalar waves and quantum physics.
Okay, so we're getting this in our computer screen, our television screen, our radio? How are we getting this?
Just through sound wave energy.
Just through sound waves. How do we know that you haven't been brainwashed?
I have been, sir. On 2007.
Well, how do we know? How can I trust what you're telling me now to throw me off? That you haven't been under the guise of these sound wave guns?
Well, I have to tell my story in full and describe my copious notes they asked me to take for my intent and for my feedback. I figured out what's going on in Guantanamo. I will provide documents. I will provide my life for many days or years. In 1996, I was traumatized. I was freaking out when this started to happen. There are tests you could take for synthetic mental illness that even were tampered with, but that proves that you're not. I think 90 to 95% of the people in the hospitals are not even mentally ill. They're just synthetically. You just know. It's kind of like having a cold. You know the difference. I didn't know for many years what was going on. I lived a normal life, but they told me that I was very informed in different ways.
Are you, and you're talking about this auditory hallucination characteristics of paranoid schizophrenia, but are you under any medication now?
Absolutely not. I don't even take an aspirin.
Yeah.
I've been the most healthiest. Yeah.
Why did they come after you? I mean, why you?
I thought it was just me. I figured out the Department of Defense budget in the 90s. There was a surge of people. It's not just me. They experimented with me. I was intelligence. They tried to recruit me for the CIA remotely for espionage, sexual slavery. I've been tortured. And behavior modification. I started to see things on television, unwitting that were created, and then movies that show the technology or the behavior modification, and then the research and the archives and the documents.
Muriel Torchman, who's also called the White Rose 2, and her story is on the website. We'll give you that website address. When you say you were recruited into sexual slavery, is this after you began questioning some of the defense contracts and you start delving into this?
No, not before. I never knew it. No, not at all. It to save my life. I went and got certified as a hypnotist. I learned the CIA techniques from the two guys who invented it, neuro-linguistic programming in 2008, just to save my soul. I had to do. I purchased the $21,000 the software that is used remotely from the Pentagon, and then I found Sharon Weinberger and other recorded psychiatrists and radio interviews that were done with these people. Most of my resources are deceased or gone or disappeared or whitewashed or brainwashed with false memories.
So you got software that costs $21,000 that teaches you this hypnotic technique, right? That actually it's energy. It can be used nefariously or as medicine. It's not approved by FDA. I bought it from a NASA physicist who's in Budapest. This is remarkable, who has been patented by the military. And then there's other whistleblowers who are talking about, who are getting bits and pieces. And because I was a friend of this remote viewing and experimentation, I figured out things that I was unrealized and unaware, and I tried to come forward, but I didn't have proof in 1996. How do you know, in the limited time that we have, how do you think a person would know if they are being subjected to this?
I can identify identify it just like anything else that any other person can identify. I've been attacked and assaulted by unwitting the public, and now because I know it and I've experienced it, I can identify it when it's happening on others, and it's being used against me.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, if you don't mind. I'm going to do more reading on this. I thought I'd done some research on it, but I'm totally lost for the most part, and it demands really a longer program. Website quickly, and I've got to go, but I'd love to get you back on. The website for folks to know more about this is? What is the website?
Well, mine is moreltorsman.com and exposingalltruth.com also.
That's all the time I've got because the computer's going to take us out, but we'll get you back on. Back in a moment.